All right, now we turn to breaking news for you out of the Middle East. Iran has launched a new wave of retaliatory missile attacks on Israel overnight, killing at least 8 people and wounding dozens more. One missile fell near the U.S. consulate in Tel Aviv. That caused minor damage. Ambassador Mike Huckabee says no American personnel were injured in that attack. In response to Iran's latest missile barrage, Israel's defense minister has warned that residents of Tehran could be caught in the crossfire. CBS News foreign correspondent Debora Patta brings us more on all of this from Tel Aviv.
The American consulate is just down there. As you can see, it's in a densely populated area. That was the scene of a devastating attack here in Tel Aviv overnight. You can see windows have been blown out in buildings that have been destroyed. Shops have also been demolished, some reduced to rubble. It's been a rough night in Tel Aviv, the 4th night in a row that Iran has launched retaliatory strikes against Israel. This all began when Israel launched its surprise attack on Iran last week, and there have been casualties on both sides. In Israel, at least 24 Israelis have died. That toll far higher in Iran, just over 200 people, including women and children, as Israel also continues to assassinate senior military commanders and nuclear scientists. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has hinted at regime change, and we understand that in Iran, people are fleeing the city. They're not used to their city being under attack, and there is concern in the regime that this could spark unrest. There are reports that President Trump rejected a plan to assassinate Iran's supreme leader, but the office of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has told CBS News these are fake. Debora Patta, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
Debora, thanks for that. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is at the White House with more on all of this. Natalie, good morning to you. So the State Department's instructing embassies to relay the message that the U.S. is not involved in the Israeli strikes on Iran. What more do we know about that very specific directive?
Yeah, and Errol, this is a message that we heard very clearly from Secretary of State Marco Rubio in his first statement following that first wave of strikes late Thursday night by Israel into Iran, targeting those nuclear sites. But clearly, the State Department feels it's important to reemphasize this message and also clearly reiterate that no government or proxy should target American citizens, bases, or infrastructure. That's also part of this cable. Excerpts obtained by CBS News. And a source says the cable also says that the U.S. remains in a defensive posture to protect assets in the region. Now, in a separate social media post by President Trump, he says that if U.S. interests were attacked by Iran, quote, the full strength and might of U.S. armed forces will come down on you at levels never seen before. Again, that's a post by the president.
And Natalie, I know that we had mentioned this last week about the back and forth from the White House on how much President Trump knew about Israel's strikes on Iran. Sources now saying that Trump actually opposed an Israeli plan to kill Iran's supreme leader. What do we know about that?
Yeah, President Trump has not publicly commented on those reports, but CBS News has confirmed that reporting. One official telling CBS that the president told Netanyahu or conveyed to him that that wasn't a good idea. We know these two leaders have been in regular communication, and the president has alluded to knowing that a strike would be coming before it happened. He also indicated that he thought that it would help bring Iran to the negotiating table. Well, over the weekend, what was supposed to be a 6th round of negotiations between the U.S. and Iran to try to reach a nuclear deal, those were canceled. The president, before he left for the G7, said that he still hopes a deal can be made, Errol.
All right, Natalie Brand with the latest headlines for us. Natalie, thanks.